Alright guys, today we're going to talk just briefly on a couple of things I noticed over the weekend when I glanced at your tests. First and foremost, when I'm looking at your test, you're having problems solving equations that are multi-step, more complex. I think it's just you guys are forgetting to break it down piece by piece. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do two videos just because of the length of the problems we're working through. But we're only going to do two problems, one per video. The videos are limited to about 15 minutes, and so in order to make sure we've got enough time, I want to make sure you guys know what you're doing. I don't think any of what I just said made sense, but okay. What I want you guys to do is actually go ahead and take notes on this as we go through it. You are allowed, one more time, you are allowed to use these notes during the test. Because I have been gone since fall break, I will be nice just this once from the bottom of my non-existent heart, and I will allow you guys to use your notes this time on the test. The tests are due by the end of the hour, and they must be completed. Whatever is done will be graded. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this problem that I've got written on the board, and I want to ask myself, what do I notice? Two things jump off the board at me. Two variables on one side, and I'm going to be specific and say on the left. And the other piece that just jumps out at me right away is I've got variables on both sides. So we're going to take this piece by piece, and we're just going to break it apart, work through it, and make sure we know what the heck we're doing. First thing I want you guys to do is copy down this 3r plus 5 times 2r minus 3 equals r plus 21. And we're going to start with simplifying. Simplifying, if you remember correctly, is when we get all the variables and all the like terms combined on one side of an equation. And our two steps for Our two steps for simplifying are going to be 1, distribute, and 2, we're going to use Christmas colors here, combine like terms. So we distribute, and then we're going to combine like terms after that. Remember, we can only simplify when there are two or more variables on one side of the equation. At this point, the two or more variables are going to be on the left side of the equation. So we're going to simplify over there first, which means we distribute first. Okay, so we're going to distribute this 5 into the parentheses, and 5 times 2r, well, the 3r stays the same. 5 times 2r is 10r. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, and that equals, the right side of the equation stays the same as well, r plus 21. So now we go through, and step 2 said to combine like terms. Okay, so we are going to combine like terms here, and 3r plus 10r minus 15 equals r plus 21. 3r plus 10r are my like terms here. My pen did not change colors like I asked it to. 3r plus 10r are my like terms, and 3r plus 10r is actually 13r minus 15 equals r plus 21. I've done all the simplifying I can, guys. Make sure when you break this down and you're actually looking at it, that you're looking at it as piece by piece. What do I notice, so what do I need to change? I noticed that there were variables, two or more variables on one side of the equation, so I had to change that. Then I noticed, if you remember right, that there were actually variables on both sides of the equation. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. 3r plus 5 times 2r minus 3 equals r plus 21 has turned into 13r minus 15 equals r plus 21. Let's go ahead and just rewrite that. And now we've got variables on both sides. And remember, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick left or right. Doesn't matter which one. In this case, I'm going to pick right. All right? And all I'm going to do is subtract my variable from both sides. So those r's cancel out. 13 minus the number in front of a variable that has no coefficient is always 1. 13r minus 1r. 13 minus 1 is 12. R minus 15 equals 21. So now when I look at it, r is only written in the entire problem one time. There are no variables left on both sides of the equation. There's only a variable on the left-hand side. Oh, excuse me. And now I'm going to go ahead and solve that. Just a reminder, since you are allowed to use these notes on the test, if you guys need time or you need to look over something again, you need something explained more than what I'm saying, just raise your hand, ask Miss N to pause it, and she'll go over it with you. 12r minus 15 equals 21. So now I want to know how was it built, or when I started with r, this r right here, what did I have to do to it? Well, I know I had to do something with this 12 and something with this negative 15, but what? So when I look at the 12 and the 15, I want to know, how was it built? How were those attached to my r? Well, 12 times r minus 15 equals 21. That's how I would read that equation. So the 12 is attached to the r by multiplying. How do I know? Oh, excuse me. How do I know this? Because there's no operation between them. So the 12 is being multiplied. And the 15 is being subtracted because there's a minus sign between them. And what's the opposite of multiplication? Wow, that's special. Opposite of multiplication is division. Sorry, I just realized you guys have no idea what's special. I was trying to write, and apparently my pen decided to pick white when I clicked on red. And the opposite of subtraction is addition. My handwriting gets worse the more of these I have to make. So now I take a look and I say, well, you could either start by dividing, but that'll give me 15 over 12 and 21 over 12, which are both fractions. We don't like fractions. Or I can start by adding. So let's go ahead and just add 15 to both sides. Those cancel. 12r equals 36. Now I go through and I divide both sides by 12. R equals 36 divided by 12 is 3. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It took me about 9 minutes to go through the problem, but I had to explain everything I was doing as I went. You should be able to go through these a little quicker on the test. Remember, there's a whole nother video. Make sure you have both examples copied down so you know what you're doing when you get to the test. Last time, you are allowed to use your notes on the video. Please do not forget that. Hold on a second. You are allowed to use your notes on the test. My wife just looked at me like I was nuts when I said it the first time. You're allowed to use your notes on the test. Don't forget that. Alright guys, go ahead and start playing the second video now as soon as you make sure everybody understands what happened on this one.